Hello and a very warm welcome to this video. It won't be long until 7.20 is available and our campus course for the new features is released. To shorten the wait for you, today I'm going to show you 3 new CAD features that are interesting in the daily life of a CAM programmer. Enjoy the video. The first new feature we're looking at is in the sketching environment. To do this, I'll open the sketch of these 2 lines here. And we now have a new function here called Biarc, or I'll call it a double arc. So let's just imagine for a moment, we have this problem. I have 2 lines and now I want to have an arc that starts tangentially from this line here. Then this arc goes tangentially into another arc, and then it should transition tangentially onto this line. How you would have done it until now is I could create a spline line. I could say, I want to go from there to there, down there, and to there. And then I could say, I want this point to be tangential, and that one too. And then we'd have something like that, at least so that it's tangential here. But you can see it here. With a B-spline, it's always relatively difficult to make the whole thing so defined. A second possibility is that I actually create the arcs here myself. And that's then associated with a lot of design work. The Biarc function makes it much easier. I actually only have to select my start line and my end line. And it then directly creates these 2 arcs for me, which are tangential at the start, tangential to each other, and tangential at the end. The size then results accordingly from the distance of the whole thing. That means if I move this a little bit now, you can see that these sizes adjust. And that would be the case. How could we transfer that to the CAM now? I've created an example for this where I have a component like this here. From a single casting, where I'm now machining the individual legs here, and I've already drawn a sketch for that, but now I don't want it to constantly retract and rapid traverse from one line to the next, but I want it to go down once, ideally even in a spiral shape as a whole. To do this, I'll go into CAD mode and edit the sketch. And I don't want to just draw a line down here once. Sure, I could do that, but then it would, so to speak, run against this surface here or scrape slightly along it. I don't want that. And so now I'm using the Biarc function. Select the individual lines and see that it goes out tangentially here and in tangentially there. We'll do that again over there. And there too. And now I'm going back into my CAM. I could now edit the machining a bit more so that you can already see that it's adopted it directly. That I'm now going down here in a spiral and then have a beautiful path here where it goes through in one go. And it also takes the tangential arcs directly with it here. The next new feature is particularly helpful if you work a lot with sweep machining because every surface has a U and a V direction. And if I go into the sweep machining itself, I can have these U and V directions for the surface displayed as well. But if I have multiple surfaces now, I'd have to check each surface individually. And I'd actually prefer to have it visualized directly. To do that, we can go into the visualization tolerance where this new field has been added called, in this case, number of middle surfaces. But what it does, if I set a value of 3 here, is it places 3 lines in the U direction and 3 lines in the V direction on each surface and sort of subdivides the surface. But it's just a visual thing. Yes, that means I'm currently in the part document and it carries that through into CAM. So if I go into CAM now, I don't see it just yet. But if I hide my finished part for a moment, I can now see here too, the lines from the whole thing. And then I can see right here, these 2 surfaces go in the same direction, but this surface deviates from that. That means before I've even applied any machining, I can just quickly apply a sweep machining here. I can already see this is my U and my V direction. And now I'll select the next surface. So if I select that surface as well, you can see right away that the 2 surfaces can be chained well and go in the same direction. Right? But this surface, for example, goes in a different direction. That means if I select it now, you can see right away that the direction is crossed there. So the last innovation mainly comes into play when I have a turned part where I have no geometry at all to align it with. Sure, you can also publish the coordinate system in the part document and position coordinate system on coordinate system. Then this problem doesn't occur. But if I position normally via axis on axis and plane on plane, and I go into my positioning for a moment, you can see here my part is still free to rotate. Right? That's not actually a problem at all. The only thing that can happen when that's the case is when I'm here in my CAM machining and I accidentally touch my part and rotate it slightly, you see that it wants to recalculate all machining because something changed in its part state, and TopSolid wants to recalculate that. If I don't want that, and I just want to fix the rotation axis as it is, you can now go into the positioning here, which is new. And in the axis on axis positioning, where I positioned it to the lathe chuck, if I right-click on it now, there's a new function, lock rotation. And there I can simply tell it that this part can no longer rotate. That means when I click on it, it turns blue, it's fully defined, I can't rotate it here anymore. And then I exit here. Now it probably wants to recalculate it once, and after that, we'll see that the part can no longer be rotated. That means if I go to the part now, I can try to rotate it as much as I want. The machining process remains unchanged. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found something useful for your daily work. See you next time.